Waiyaki had given the children permission to go home earlier than usual because they had been working the whole day mudding the building. The gaping holes were no longer there. The walls looked newly built, and the hut was quite respectable except for the roof. However, he thought he would speak about the roof when the parents met. The gathering might be a large one, for it would be attended by people from other regions. Mariashoni had established itself as the center of the new spirit sweeping through the regions, and Waiyaki, though young, was considered the unofficial leader of the education movement that would inevitably awaken the regions. The day for the meeting had already been fixed. Waiyaki waited. He became restless. Perhaps she would not come. He felt hurt and did not know what to do. All the day long, he had thought of nothing but their meeting, and whenever he saw a head appearing, his heart beat with expectancy. His soul and senses were taut and tense. She did not come, and he could not wait anymore. He was angry and felt disappointed. For the first time, he thought that she might be the conceited girl Kamau had painted her in their talks. He had then not believed it, but now he knew it was true. What a proud woman. Was it because of her father Joshua? Or could it be... Why had he not thought of it? She might have feared her father would discover her. For a time, he strongly felt the gap between them. It was as big as the one dividing Kameno and Makoyo. He went home. His mother's hut and 2 barns stood there defiantly, exactly as they had stood for years. His father's dingira had been burned, as was the custom after his death. Waiyaki could not think of his home without the old one coming into the picture. His father usually sat outside until the cows were milked. The birds flew away and the sun sunk home. Sometimes he would sit there under the family tree till darkness had covered the land. Around the huts was bush, extending until it merged with the low-lying forest. The forest went down the slope to the Honia River. Beyond and across the valley facing Kameno was Makoyo, with many huts lying along the top in little clusters, indicating various households. From afar, you might have thought the huts in Waiyaki's home were part of the bush and the forest. Actually, the whole place was not all bush. Small shambas were hidden from view by the trees. Now that the rain had fallen, Waiyaki knew that green life would soon appear, and peas, beans and maize would soon be flourishing, scorning the drought that had been threatening the country. Jahe was the season of the long rains. It was the favorite season with all the people, for then everyone would be sure of a good harvest. The peas and beans, bursting into life, gave color and youth to the land. On sunny days, the grass leaves and the virgin gaiety of the flowers made our hearts swell with expectation. At such times, women would be seen in the shambas cultivating. No, not cultivating, but talking in a secret language with the crops and the soil. Women sang gay songs, the children too, and the plants and all the trees around swaying a little as if they were surrendering themselves to the touch of the wind, seemed to understand the joy of mothers. You could tell by the bright faces of the women that they were happy. Not only the women, but cows and goats caught the life. They jumped about, kicking in the air with their tails twisted into different shapes. The children were also happy, and the ones who were grown up looked after the very young ones. You would see them running about, wandering aimlessly as if the madness or the intoxication of the bees had caught them. So they ran and played, but they were careful not to harm the flowers. Waiyaki could still remember how he used to follow his mother to the shamba and keep on climbing up a Waiyaki tree. Occasionally, a delicate squeal of a neglected baby would be heard rising above the peace of the field, and the voice of the mother, distant, yet ringing with life and deep concern, would rise, admonishing the bigger children to take care of the young. In the evening, all went home, husband and boys bringing the cattle and goats, women bringing home the day's gathering of what would be eaten at night. They would then sit and wait to see what the women of the house had for the evening meal. The boys usually talked, but the man of the house would sit under the family tree it was not yet dark, and meditate or hold a discussion with one or two elders who might call at that time. In the past few years, things were changing. The pattern of seasons was broken. It no longer rained regularly. The sun seemed to shine for months and the grass dried, and when it fell, the rainwater carried away the soil. Waiyaki lingered outside for a few minutes. He remembered his father and wondered how old he would look if he were still alive. Waiyaki had never understood him. Waiyaki often found himself trying to puzzle out the meaning of the old prophecy. Was that the salvation? And what would a savior do with a band of men of the school's governing committee and made sure that he opposed Waiyaki's suggestion on every possible occasion? One time, when Waiyaki proposed that lavatories should be built, Kabonyi opposed it, saying that the bush was a good place. But after one or two elders had spoken, the proposal was carried. Kabonyi kept silent for the rest of the meeting. He would say whenever he wanted to be destructive. The other elders called him the teacher as a sign of respect. When darkness came, Waiyaki went inside his heart. Mbura has done me wrong. That was what he was thinking. But when he remembered Joshua and the way he had disowned Modoni, he forgave her. After all, was he himself free from fear? In his heart, Waiyaki knew that he would not have liked to be seen by Kabonyi standing with Joshua's daughter. He resented this and wondered if he too was becoming a slave to the tribe. His activities were being watched by everyone. His freedom was being curbed. Yet, was this not what he wanted? Service, service. Always standing by the tribe like his father and the ancestors before him, and fate was driving him to the helm of things. Very well. If they wanted him to stand by the tribe, he would do it. His father must have foreseen all this. And Waiyaki felt proud of him. He felt proud of this man who had stood alone, single-handed, and carried the heavy burden of people's feelings and thoughts in his voice, although they did not heed him. And Waiyaki remembered his father with a new glow and admiration. He no longer felt bound. He would serve the tribe. Serve, serve, serve. There was nothing much in his heart. A rough bed, a table and one chair. The heart was cold and everything in it spoke of dissolution. Waiyaki felt like an intruder penetrating the dark mystery of the place as he groped for the lantern. He shivered a little, but the glow in his heart warmed him. The elders did not pay him much. He did not mind. This was a part of the sacrifice. Later, they would feel grateful. That would be enough payment for Waiyaki. And he would go on with that he had begun. Schools and more schools. Get the white man's education as his father had told him. But Waiyaki would not be satisfied with just more schools. Later, he would want a college. The sort of institution that Reverend Livingstone used to talk so much about. Why? He might even get more teachers from Nairobi. Nairobi was far, far away. He had never been there. Still, all those plans were for the future. At present, he would try to make his school grow and be an example to the others. He watched the little flame fluttering, setting hazy shadows on the round wall. The flame was dark on the fringes. The smoke went up, and up. He watched fixedly, like a man gazing at a small object in a dream. Slowly, he put out his little finger and tried to touch the flame. He removed it quickly. It was not good to play with fire. He felt angry, very angry for no particular reason. And then there was a knock at the door. The door opened. "Hey, Kinodia, Waiyaki, is it well with you?" "It is well." Kinodia stood there for a moment. Then he went across and sat on the bed. Waiyaki looked at him. Kinodia would not meet his eyes. "You're coming from home. How's the ridge? I hope all is at peace." "Oh yes, all is well. And how's your mother?" "I have not yet gone to see her. Shall we go to the hut and see what she has for us?" They went to the hut of Waiyaki's mother. Waiyaki was not surprised at Kinodia's visit. They often visited each other without warning. "I have heard that you are in this kema." I have no idea. Who told you? This was true. Nobody had told Waiyaki about it, but Kabonyi is angry. I found him saying to everybody that you are too young to be let into the secrets of the tribe. Kinuthia stopped. Then in a more serious and slightly warning tone, he continued, I think Kabonyi does not like you. I would be careful of him if I were you. Waiyaki felt like laughing, but he checked himself and wondered why Kabonyi should be so against him. He had never done anything wrong to him. His mother had finished cooking. The whole place had a gloomy atmosphere. Kinuthia remarked about this as they ate their food. Waiyaki glanced at his mother, who sat away from the fire. He loved her. After all, he was her only son. He felt guilty that he did not spend much time with her. It was not like when he was young. Then he used to sit with her around the fire far into the night. She told him stories. Quietly, they ate their meal and then went back to Waiyaki's hut. He said, I think you are wrong, Kinuthia. Why would he dislike me? I have not done anything wrong to him. Jealousy, of course. They were silent for a long time. Then they talked of many little things about the villages and the school. Just before he left, Kinuthia suddenly said to Waiyaki, Kamau told me that he thought he saw you in Makuyu late last night. Waiyaki did not answer. End of chapter 16.